Hello, Betty Krasik here. Well, British Columbia seems to be doing pretty well still with the virus, and good on us. Uh, I'm glad to hear this, as we all are. It gives us a chance to relax our attention a little bit and maybe turn it to other issues that are also rather pressing, like the economy, about the Canadian economy. And the Canadian economy, I was curious as to how it is relating to what they're doing in the U.S. With the release of massive amounts of money to bail out corporations and um, huge and banking systems and moneyed organizations that are already rich beyond uh, the the regular person's idea of what being rich would be. And but what I found was, as far as Canada is concerned, one thing that uh, bothers me. Uh, I don't know why, because I don't know that much about the relationship between uh, treasury goals of nations compared to other functions of the government. But what I have just recently discovered that Canada has no gold in its treasury, or no gold to speak of. It has roughly 77 ounces, and this is kind of in gold coin. And this, for a national treasury, is next to no gold at all. And I found that in in the 1960s, Canada had more than 1,000 tons of gold. Now, that's a big drop from 1,000 tons of gold um, to um, to 77 ounces. Give me a break. Why did Canada sell this gold? All of its gold, primarily all of it, um, and why? What would be the benefit of selling off gold? Because gold is having gold in the treasury sort of denotes a kind of power, that it's because gold has long been seen as such a treasure. It's a mark of treasure. It protects wealth. But now Canada has none to speak of. Now, today we have less than 1 ton. But why? Um, well, what difference does it make, actually? And I had to think about this for a minute, but uh, one thing appeared, obviously it must be important, are Russia, China, um, uh, England, um, all of the uh, rich uh, nations are busy stocking up more gold. So, what is the importance of it, and what happened to ours? Why did Canada sell it all off so that today we hardly have any? And okay, back in the uh, 2016, David Barnaby, who is the finance department in the federal government, emailed CBC News, I suppose, in an inquiry. I guess CBC had inquired what was happening to the gold. And Barnaby said the government has a long-standing policy of diversifying its portfolio by selling physical commodities, such as gold, and instead investing in financial assets that are easily tradable and that have deep markets of buyers and sellers. And then another article I ran across was from the Gold Telegraph for this year, and they tell me that according to Senior Finance Department economist Bill Marnow, the reason for the gold sales was that the cost involved storing the gold and the fact gold offers a poor return. Well, those are very poor reasons. You know, uh, how much can a room? You could put all the gold that Canada had in one room. Of course, it has to be guarded and so forth, but that seems like a poor excuse. And for the fact that it offers a poor return, well, that is poor management and poor foresight because, and the Gold Telegraph said that this seemed like a strange reason to them because the price of gold went from $35 an ounce in 1967 to $1,300 an ounce today. So that's a poor return. I mean, some of these investors wish they had that kind of return. And so it certainly was not for lack of return, of course. Even in its bare minimum, gold is gold and will reach its importance in preserving wealth in any country's treasury. That just fluff it all off. And now, while all these other countries are busy trying to get as much gold as possible, because it's really going skyrocket in terms of price. But how else is gold defined in terms of what does it mean in to a nation to have the backing of gold in their treasury for hard times, for just to have this to back up one's currency. So what gives me a queasy feeling now is that Canada no longer has any gold to back up the Canadian dollar. And what does that mean? And what does it mean in terms of how it's holding up with the U.S. dollar? We do know that Canada's losing value by the day. Practically, it's been going quite down. We need to look into these things. We need to know them as citizens. What our government and our corporations, what the Bank of Canada, which is supposed to be, this is the treasury where we would have gold holdings, is with the Bank of Canada. What was the Bank of Canada thinking? More on this next time, okay? I want to talk about maybe how national debt, has a lot to do with the way gold is preserved by nations and how it affects the wealth of a nation. Okay? Talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.